high-intensity bright bulbs that we all love to stare at when we're driving through traffic. And you have to remove so much of the car to get to it. Plus, the bulb is $150 to $200. So it's still a surprise to me what we have to do to change some of these headlights.
Oh, I know, and just the cost of the bulbs themselves.
Right. And unfortunately, this gentleman who thought we were just going to put in a $20 headlight, someone had, in reference to how much work it takes to replace some of these headlights, trying to shortcut it, not always a good idea.
No.
Someone tried to help him and shortcut this, and in the process melted the headlight assembly. And that headlight assembly was, how much was that thing? $250.
$250 for the headlight assembly, and that didn't include the labor to install it.
Well, and let's be perfectly honest, that's a wholesale cost. That's what we as a retail automotive shop pay for it. It's not what if you go into the parts store, or, well, in this case was only Mazda.
Right.
You're going to pay probably $320, $330 for that headlight assembly.
I think that list was like $335.
Yeah.
Just for the headlight, and that's a Mazda. If you're out there driving, a Mercedes, a BMW, it doesn't even have to be, Allie and I, we kind of talked about this earlier. You don't even have to be driving a luxury car anymore to have a headlight that's going to cost you $400 or $500.
No, I do remember. I do know there's some Volvo assemblies and some BMW assemblies that are in the thousands, though. So,
yeah, by time in some of these headlights, you have your headlight bulb, you have your ballast.
Right.
If you're running HIDs,
you have a module. You have so much that goes to it now. So did I just hear a ding?
I heard it.
Dinged.
Somebody dinged.
Yeah,
I
dinged
to because I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, we do have some people online following us. We got Lou Mangello, who is out of Disney World, Orlando, Florida. Yeah, I know. My wife's taking home. Sumi Roach. Hello, Sumi. How are you today? Stacy is also there.
What in the world is going on?
That's my ding. I don't know how to get my ding out of there. I got to figure out how to get the ding out of there.
Does Maybe everyone else hear the ding?
They probably do.
Terrible.
That's a horrible thing. But so welcome that you're on here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. We're talking about headlights, and we talked earlier about buying new cars or holding on to your cars. I'll bet you, if you ask people what are the most common questions you have when you buy a car, it's going to be, what's the price? How much fuel mileage are you getting? It's going to be, how long do you think it can last? How many people can fit in there? For the younger people, how fast are you going to go? But what are some of the questions that get overlooked? And I'll bet you one of them is, A, maintenance, and B, how much does a headlight cost or a light cost to replace?
Well, and, where does this car rank? There's a lot of helpful things out there as far as maintenance goes, and that's one of the things. It's not 100% reliable because, unfortunately, not all the manufacturers tell you all the maintenance that you need for your car. They are very minimalistic when it comes to outlining their maintenance, and part of that is because everyone looks at this, what is the cost per year of my car to operate? And that's one large selling point that's out there. But, the positive thing about that is there is some published data about, what your expected maintenance or repair costs can be on certain vehicles. But you definitely, I drove a Porsche Cayman that some gentleman was looking at the other day, and, I love Porsche. I'm a huge, huge fan of Porsche, but I couldn't see anything on that car that I would not have hated working on, that would not have been exorbitant as far as repair cost.
Right.
And so that's something that we tell you to think about when you're looking at another car.
Hey, Nadia. Hello, Nadia. Nadia's one of our old clients from days gone past. She says hello, or she hearted us as well. We have 3 hearts. I feel like I'm Zelda.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like Zelda.
You're the legend.
I'm the legend of Zelda. No, Allie's the legend master. She just defeated Zelda. She defeated the 1980s.
Oh, I was gonna say that's not Zelda. What are we on, like 12 now?
Oh, something like that. But she played Zelda, and she defeated. I got it for Christmas. The NES little thingy. and she defeated Zelda. I
The
mean,
little thingy?
the little thing. Well, it's only about yay big.
The Game Boy? Oh, I'm sorry. The Game Boy would be like way back in the day.
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
it?
this was
This
the
is
new
not.
new NES little thing, whatever that everybody was hyping over.
I
So,
don't know what that is.
oh, it's
Sorry.
all the classic Nintendo games. Pac-Man.
I live in a box.
You live in a box. So, but yeah, I mean, there are those published things, but there's also the maintenance things or the repairs that you go that nobody will tell you.
And whatever you do, do not buy a used vehicle without letting someone look at it. It doesn't have to be Chad Miller Auto Care. I mean, it should be. If you really care.
Oh, if you're in the San Antonio area,
If
yes.
you care about your car at all,
Oh,
it
my
should
goodness.
be Chad Miller Auto Care.
This
you
is a
know.
public broadcast.
What? Publicly, if you hey, my face on Yelp does not lie.
You are. That's right. My face is not on Yelp. I don't know why
My face on Yelp says 5 stars, so I have to go with.
they.
But how many years have we done this together? 14.
We've been
15?
together 14. We started on. Tony actually.
A little bit more than 14, I think.
Yeah, Tony brought me into this industry 14 plus years ago.
Because we both have 14-year-olds, and I don't think they were born when we started this.
No, not at all.
Or maybe they were.
No,
No.
Vincent was.
Vincent
Vincent
had
was.
just been born.
Yep.
So 14 years. And we have seen some nightmares for people who just buy a vehicle sight unseen and don't have it looked at.
I can remember the first person I talked to at our old location, Mr. Ferguson, and I know Diane's a friend of ours on Facebook, but they bought a vehicle and they brought it in after they looked at it, and I felt so bad for them because
They were stuck. They had purchased it, and then they were kind of done. They didn't have a choice because can't just give it back. Well, you can, but there's consequences.
right. So if you're buying a used car, even if you're buying a certified car, make sure you get it checked out. Don't just kick the tires, as they say. Look under the hood and look at all the pretty set dressing that that the dealerships do, or some of these fly-by-night companies do, and take them for their word. If they don't let you, take it off the lot, what do you do?
Well, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, that's generally a red flag to me if they won't let you take a car to be looked at and to get a second opinion. I mean, if they're confident in the vehicle they're selling, they don't have a problem with you having it looked at. I mean, if you are going to buy a vehicle that for some reason you don't get looked at because it's whatever the circumstances, and you can buy a certified car, you're way better off. Even though we don't necessarily get to see the car for a while because, that goes back to the dealer for service and maintenance. A certified car is a pretty nice way to go. They cover a lot of things.
Yeah,
So.
and that's right. Certified are good, but you still have to, it doesn't hurt to get somebody to look at it. You can, if you find something, you may be able to take it back to that dealership and have negotiating power. I mean, they can't. Not everybody sees everything.
No, but the one of the dealerships, and we're not advertising anyone, but there is one dealership here that we've had some experience with that they have the most variety of any car, any car lot I've ever seen, and we've seen them take cars back after we look at them and find problems with them.
Yeah, and they will also go out and go find you a car too from all over the country.
Right. Yeah, and they'll ship it to
They'll
you.
ship it in here, transfer it in here, do whatever they need to do. They're a very good, very reliable company, and they have great extended warranties too with them, which is something that we'll talk about
at some point.
At some point. I mean, we've got a whole plethora of things to talk about, from how to
some of it's even about cars.
No,
it's too far. We don't give away industry secrets.
No. It's not an industry secret, just showing them what a headlight looks like. So, hey, we've got a comment from Orlando, Florida. Someone thinks that we give the best and most honest advice.
How much did we pay for that?
I don't know. I'll have to figure that out.
Okay.
It's probably the check's in the mail, by the way. So thank you very much.
Sure, that's gonna.
Hey, but we're reaching Orlando, Florida. I mean, come on. We're reaching New Braunfels. I think Nadia's in New Braunfels or San Marcos. So yeah. So if you like what you hear, you want to you have comments, you have questions,
Suggestions.
suggestions that you want to hear about, we are open. We've been doing this. I mean, this is our first episode in front of a camera. This is our first episode kind of back on the radio or media. Tony and I used to do this. We did this for years, where you couldn't see our face. I've got to keep the room dark so you still can't see my face.
I see my face in 3 places, and it trips me out. And there's obviously some sort of delay because I was watching your phone, and I'm like, I'm not moving my hands. And
Yeah, there seems to be a little
Yeah.
delay on my other monitor, but I'm hoping that everything's coming through clear and great. Hey, Lee Mammarella. Hello, Lee Mammarella. She's in San Antonio. She's a client of ours over at Chad Miller Auto Care. Her and her husband. We want to thank you for liking us and checking us out.
so we didn't announce this. Are these people just home hanging out on Facebook?
They're just hanging out. We are gonna
Okay.
announce it. We're going to do this every Saturday, 3 to 3:30 every Saturday, unless there's another time that to broadcast where we can get some more listeners and viewers. We're also going to go ahead and pin this to our Facebook page, so you can always go back. And there's going to be a history of us online.
So you can reference, all of our
That's right.
awesome information that we give out. But we are very interested in knowing, what do you want to know? What would you like us to talk about? Are there things that, not that your car is necessarily the most important thing to you, but what would you like to hear talked about? What are some things about this industry, about automotive repair, or about your particular car that, you would like to know? There's definitely things that we can talk to you about that can save you money, that can save you time with your car, that can keep your car maintained and on the road. There's definitely some ways that we can help, and that's my priority.
Yeah,
I would like you to have your car for as long as possible, because then I get to do the most work to it.
right. Yeah, that's not.
I'm just being
Well, and where are cars going? Where are the future of automotive vehicles?
self-driving.
Self-driving. They talk about self-driving. We've talked about electric. We've talked about hydrogen. We haven't talked here since it's our first time, but there's been talk about all of that, and we'll touch on that as well. We'll touch on a variety of things that that we think is important, but also that and like Tony said, what do you, as the viewers, as the listeners, what do you want to see?
I would like to see more natural gas vehicles, as inexpensive as natural gas is becoming now. There's a lot of longevity in natural gas vehicles. There used to be a lot of them, but thank you, government regulations, for solving that problem.
Didn't we look into that a couple years ago about servicing natural gas vehicles? And
We looked into servicing it. We looked into putting on the kits that would make it run on natural gas, but it's not cost effective.
No, it was
for people.
I don't even remember what the numbers were. We talked about this the other day, but the numbers were astronomical as far as to become a service station to service those vehicles and to put on those kits too.
But it's greener.
It is greener.
It's greener than gas. So, and if you really were concerned about your main concern was greenness, then cost would not be the number one thing to you.
Dude, seriously?
I went there.
You're taking my thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was my soapbox right there.
You know what? You had no topic for me. So
that was my soapbox Saturday topic at one point in time.
You should know from experience. I will run you over. I have no problem.
I know, right? Hey, I got a question for you out there. If you're listening, if you're watching, because we don't see what's happening, how does it sound? How does it look? I know there's some shadows that we need to work on. But what do you think? Go and again, leave us some comments. We've got comments from Lou, from Lee, from Sumi Roach. Sumi, who is a great client here in San Antonio. I could talk about Sumi Roach. I could talk. No. I could talk about Q. How about that? I could talk about Q, but
no.
We'll leave that alone.
Be
but
nice.
He's just like any other teenager. We all have been there.
Nope, I never was.
You never were? Oh, my
Nope.
goodness. Yeah. So it is right now 3:25. We're going to have about 5 minutes left. If anybody's online, they want to go ahead and give us a little, shoot us out a question. Stump the chump kind of a thing. No, That's not.
That was harsh.
Hey, I didn't say you don't have it listed under
There's
your name of
only
chump.
2 of us.
Well, and that's chump. That's stumping me.
You aren't going to call yourself a chump.
Oh, I would too. Trust me, I would have no bad thing about that. Um, so again, if you want to go on CM Auto Care 6011 for Skype, email us at service@cmautocare.com. Even shoot us a question on our hotline at 731 Car Chat. Throughout the week, we'll go ahead and take those. We will answer your questions. We'll come back next week, talk about if there's a good question or topic you want to talk about, or I guess we'll just put together something ourselves.
Well, we can put together stuff ourselves.
Yeah, we can.
But we would like, I mean, this is a very cool way for us to be still interactive with our customers and still interactive with, people who want to talk about this, people who want information on this, and then
we don't have to just talk. We don't have to talk repair.
No.
I mean, we can talk repair. We can talk, like we talked about earlier, buying cars. We can talk about the future of cars. We can talk about whatever automotive you want to. If you're going on a trip, say you're going to Grandma's, we can talk about what you need to do to get ready to go to Grandma's, or Grandpa's, or aunties or uncles, or do whatever. But we can.
Your auntie.
But that's what we're here for. We're here to help you. If you're in the San Antonio area and you want to check out Chad Miller Auto Care, we are located at 6011 Days of Alla Road. If you're not close to us, there are a ton of other great locations in San Antonio. I do caution everybody, go ahead and do your research before you go to some shops. Not everybody is online, but check out online reviews, check out BBB, AAA, places like that. There are some very, very good shops in San Antonio and the surrounding areas. But if you're close to us, come check us out. We'd love to help you out.
The world of online reviews is much different than it once was.
Yeah,
it's something that's actually, I mean, I think pretty much everyone uses them. If you buy stuff on Amazon, I know you use them because you can't see it or touch it or feel it. So, but we live off of customer reviews.
We do,
and I think it's the best way. I mean, I'm not a huge proponent of social media, but it is a way for consumers to communicate with each other. We've been very, very blessed with a lot of good reviews and people being very happy with the service we're offering, and it helps us. Even we've said, and I know you've said before, even if it's a negative review, and it helps us understand some direction for us to grow and move, more towards serving our customers, and that's what we want.
I think that was actually a phone call coming in because I think I had my phone forwarded to my cell phone. So I think I just hung up on somebody calling me, which is...
Well, it's our first Facebook Live chat.
It's our first Facebook Live chat. I will get with the technical aspect of it.
Right, we'll call our tech department and see.
I will. Hey, I do have a question all the way from Windermere, which if anybody know where Windermere is.
No.
Do you guys have any experience with these new transmissions having 89, I'm sorry, I think it's 8, 9, or even 10 speeds, and how reliable are they? And that's from Derek all the way in Windermere. So
where is Windermere? I don't know what that is.
The home of Tiger Woods.
Oh, he withdrew.
He did withdraw. Poor back injury. I don't think he's never going to be the same. But that's
hey! Don't.
You know what? I'm still gonna. I still love the Tiger. Still love the Tiger. Windermere is Orlando, Florida.
He could get laser surgery and be fine.
He's fine. You know what? If I won 14 majors and my back hurts, I don't care. I'm done.
As far as those transmissions go, almost everyone uses. Well, they almost use nearly the same transmission in every vehicle now. Basically, Mercedes is the one that started it, going into at least the 8 and the 9 speed, and the one. I mean, we've seen a lot of them go to that. 10 speed is relatively brand new, and hopefully that's the end of it. Hopefully we're not going to try and do anything beyond that, but I don't think we've had to do anything to those transmissions overall. Change the fluid in them. But I don't think we've had to do any kind of repair to those transmissions at all. My most recent experience is driving the new Pacifica that has the 9-speed transmission that Mercedes built for them, and that thing is incredible. Way nicer than pretty much anything else I've driven. So it's the way of the future, and it's because we have so many cafe standards as far as fuel efficiency and things that we're going to have to meet. That's one direction that they've gone. I mean, even in bicycles, you know, bicycles, it used to be everybody had a 10 speed. Now, if you buy a modern, nice road bike, you have a 22 speed, and it still has the 2 gears up front and the gears in back, except now in the back you have 11 speeds. And that's because your work effort doesn't have to change a whole lot between changing gears. And that's the idea in cars with having a larger amount of gears is you keep your RPM range at the same. Your RPM range doesn't have to flare from 2,000 to 4,000 RPM for you to continue to move up the gears. And keeping that RPM range in the same space is really what makes a vehicle more efficient. It kind of controls your driving for you. So,
Hey, can you explain cafe standards?
um, soup and sandwiches is good. No, that's not what you meant.
No. We'll talk about cafe standards last week or next week, and kind of talk about what Tony meant by cafe standards,
And
and
we'll see if we ever, as a country, get there.
right.
I mean, we've had laws on the books for going on 30 years now, and we still don't meet those cafe standards. So, the new ones coming around in the next 5 or 10 years, we'll see if we get there with those either.
Hey, I think we got one more question, which
Uno mas.
Uno Mas question. Then we're going to call it a day. And we want to thank everybody for listening out there, liking us, doing comments, sharing. We've had 2 people share our videos, so we're hopefully reaching far more than just my limited friends on Facebook. So if you like it, share it, tell your friends, tell your family. Shout out to Crystal Rodriguez, who's listening. Hey, Crystal, thank you for liking us and listening. Last question is, gentleman wanted to call to pop a quick question. He's got a Chevy truck in 3-zone climate, and one of the sounds is having trouble, or I guess one of it's having trouble up front and hearing problems. Do you know if there could be issues with the solenoids or the door's not opening? Kind of what's going on. Did he pop a fuse? Is there anything? So, what are the common things we see, with the 3-zone or the Chevy GM products?
Well, any of the multi-zones all have the same kind of issues. I know you've seen a lot of them.
Yeah, we've seen a lot. I mean, if you're getting a clicking, if I'm hearing this right, because it might not have transcribed it correctly. If you're hearing a popping, a clicking noise, anything like a ratcheting type of noise from the dash, you can have actuators where the plastic gears are stripped out. Those are the biggest things that we see.
Right. That's the actuator is basically the electronic motor that actually opens and closes the door to direct the flow of the HVAC, of the heating and ventilation system. And most of the time, because they put plastic gear, and it's been this way since they started using electric actuators, they have plastic gears in them, and the plastic gears wear out. Or if it loses its position and doesn't know where its position is, then you end up having to, sometimes with the Chevys and the Dodges, we've been fortunate in just being able to recalibrate and having those find the position. But at the point that it starts making a ratcheting or a clicking noise like Chad's talking about, generally we have to replace the actuator.
And don't be surprised. Some of the actuators can cost, if you're looking at cost or looking at time involved, some of them can, a half hour to an hour, but some of them you have to replace the dash or have to remove the dash to replace some of these actuators. On the Chevys, the Dodges, and then it gets into the point of, how far do you go? Do you replace other parts when you're there? So you just have to weigh in and kind of figure out, where you are with your vehicle as well. I know the Dodges, if you're pulling a dash to do a Dodge actuator, you better just replace it all.
Right, all the motors,
Yeah,
meaning not the whole dash. Well, Okay, depending on the year of
depending on the year.
if you have a Dodge truck and
you have
it's later than or earlier than '05, yeah.
and you've used a little cleaner on it to because you wanted to make it shine. Yeah, you're gonna weaken that dash, and you're just gonna have to replace it. So, hopefully we answered your question, Johnny. Again, we want to thank you all for listening. Go ahead and again hit us up on the hotline at 731 Car Chat. Email us at service@cmautocare.com. We're going to be here next week live at 3 o'clock, myself and Tony. Until then, have a great day, drive safe, and we'll see you next week.
And go Falcons.
Oh, boo.
Go Falcons.